Shlump. Hello everybody, Shlump here, and today I've got Goat Simulator on the Steam Deck for you. I've decided to make a video on this game on the Steam Deck because Goat Simulator 3 just got announced. And you're probably like, what? I didn't know Goat Simulator 2 was out. There is no Goat Simulator 2, they went straight from 1 to 3. Because if you played Goat Simulator, you know the whole game is just random and funny and just wacky stuff happening, so they thought it'd be appropriate to just go from 1 to 3. And I think it's pretty interesting. I like it. I don't mind it. But since Goat Simulator 3 is going to be coming out, I know a lot of people are going to maybe be wanting to get back into Goat Simulator if they played it before, or if they haven't played it before, play it for the first time. And now that the Steam Deck's out, naturally people are going to want to play it on there. So I thought now would be a good time to make a video on the game on the Steam Deck. And on the Steam store, this game is listed as verified for Steam Deck, which means it'll work really well. That's the highest class of verification for games on the Steam Deck. It doesn't guarantee that there's no problems, but it means that they are very minor, and overall, it's a very good experience on the Steam Deck. But, as you'll see in the video, I disagree with this. I think the performance is bad on the Steam Deck, and performance is always kind of bad in Goat Simulator. It's not optimized very well, but regardless, it doesn't run very well at all on the Steam Deck, and it crashes frequently, loading from different parts of the game, you know, from like the normal map to MMO Simulator to Wasted Space, loading from one level to the next level. That's when it's likely to crash. And then I've also started the game before where in the menus, the controllers work, but then once I get into actual gameplay, like where you are the goat, it thinks I have a mouse and keyboard connected. When I'm not even in desktop mode, I'm in game mode. So that's really weird. I don't know why it does that. I can't figure out how to make it stop doing that sometimes. And then also, Goat Z, that expansion doesn't want to load if you use the default Proton configuration, which is like 7 something. You have to go to the previous one, which is 6 something, just to get the Goat Z one to work. Though, if you go into Proton 6, get Goat Z to work, and then go out of the game, change it back to Proton 7, and then go back into the game, then since Goat Z is still loaded, it'll still work. But once you go out of that and then go back into it, it won't work anymore. See, it's a complicated mess, and that's why I don't think it should be labeled as verified. And so this video is going to inform you on how to get the most out of this game on Steam Deck, because you can still play it if you really want to. I mean, if you have another place to play it, and this game's out on every platform now, I'd probably play it somewhere else. But if this is like your really only place to play it, then it can work. It's not the worst way to play the game. So that's what this video is going to show you. And so I have different graphics configurations going on. The first one is Ultra, every single setting maxed out. And then the next one is just Ultra without MSAA, because MSAA is very taxing on games. So having MSAA off gives you a big boost to performance. And then the next graphics configuration is Medium. And you'll notice when I show the configuration for it, in Medium, I still have the physics all the way up to the max, because Goat Simulator is all about the physics, right? If there's no physics, it's not really the same game anymore. So I don't want to turn the physics down in any graphics configuration, because I don't want to take like core aspects of the gameplay away, right? We can try to make it run better, and everything we do is just for looks. But I don't want to actually change settings that will actually affect the way you play the game. So that's why physics is going to stay all the way at the top at the max. So Medium is just Ultra with no MSAA, and then the literal graphics slider set down to Medium. And then Low is everything as low as possible except for physics, where the graphics slider is set to the lowest, and also all the additional effects like God rays and motion blur and dynamic shadows, those are all set to off. So everything off except for physics. After that, we've got my custom personal graphics configuration, where if I was going to be playing this game on the Steam Deck, which I won't be because it crashes too much and has too many bugs, but if I was going to, this is the graphics setup that I'd be playing the game with, where it's dynamic shadows on, depth of field off, light shafts on, motion blur off, MSAA off, and then physics and graphics set all the way to max. And this configuration is a setup to play the game at 40 Hertz, where you can change the refresh rate to 40 Hertz and then you get 40 FPS. But then since you're on the 40 Hertz screen refresh rate, it'll feel actually quite nice, like a good middle ground between 30 FPS and 60 FPS. If you don't understand the 40 Hertz thing, I made a whole video about it, so I'll put that on the screen right now. And then so except for that. So the first clip of that graphics configuration, the custom one, is going to be the game running on the normal original map at the custom graphics configuration, and then with the game at 60 hertz, just to show you what kind of performance you can expect. And then I'm going to be showing the Payday map, which I think is the most difficult, demanding map to run, and showing how the frame rate kind of goes around 40 FPS there anyways. And then next clip after that will be the original map again with the custom graphics configuration, except this time the Steam Deck will be set to 40 hertz, so it'll be a really smooth 40 FPS. And there's not going to be no drops because I think I already mentioned this, but Goat Simulator doesn't really run perfectly no matter how you set up the graphics. It's just a game that's not optimized very well at all for anything, so you will get quite frequent frame drops, but that's just the way Goat Simulator is. I suppose if you were really craving a smooth Goat Simulator experience, you could turn down the physics, but I wouldn't recommend that. But you can if you want to. That probably would help with some of the frame rate drops, but I don't even know if that would make it smooth. And then, so yeah, I've got the graphics configuration shown on the original map and then Payday map at 60 hertz, and then shown on the original map and Payday map again, but this time at 40 hertz. On the Payday map though, it still dips a bit, so you might actually want to turn down the graphics slider to medium there. What I think that does basically is it just messes with the amount of grass, and for the Payday map you won't really notice it that much because there's not much grass on there. It's kind of a deserty area, so you might want to do that for there. But everywhere else, that graphics configuration should be good enough. And I'll say it again, you're still going to get some FPS drops, but Goat Simulator is just not optimized very well on any platform, so pretty much anywhere you play it, you're still going to get big FPS drops. So there's really not much we can do with that at all. Finally, the last clip that I'm going to show you is just me on the Goat Z map, showing that it does indeed work on the Steam Deck. You just have to set the game to Proton 6, but if you're playing any other map than that, I'd recommend setting it back to Proton 7, because I do think you get a slight performance boost when playing with Proton 7, which makes sense. It is a newer version of Proton that has been tweaked to work with more games. I think that's everything to note about Goat Simulator on the Steam Deck. There is quite a lot. This game is verified on the Steam store, but unfortunately I think that is a wrong label for it. I don't think it should be considered verified, because no matter how you set the graphics, it's going to still have massive FPS drops, and the game actually just hard crashes all the times. And there's lots of bugs, like the one I mentioned where you go into the game, the menus work fine with the Steam Deck controller, and then you actually go into the game when you're to go, and then the game switches to mouse and keyboard settings, and there's no way to change it back that I found. So you have to restart it and just hope again. And I tried it like 3 times in a row and it didn't work. So I don't know what's going on. And then like the Goat Z map doesn't work unless you go to Proton 6, and it's just a whole mess of stuff. So yeah, I would not recommend buying this game just to play it on Steam Deck. If you already have it, then there's no harm in trying it out, seeing how well it works for you, because it might work better for other people than it did for me. Steam Deck is weird like that. Like, some problems that people have on Steam Deck, others with Steam Decks don't have. The Steam Deck is quite an odd system, and that's why it requires videos like these to talk about all the problems it has, and how to know how to avoid them, and how to set up games properly on them. So that's why I'm making these videos, for cases like this where there's a lot to talk about. But I think finally that is everything to note about this game. So if you enjoyed this video, found it informative, helpful, entertaining, leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell button for notifications when I upload videos so you don't ever miss them, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.
dead goat.